just fall into a dream.
My next guest is one of the best definitions of self-love I've ever met. Coming from a third world country in the Philippines, going through a lot to eventually find herself, she decided to share those findings with others, started the coaching program Balance so that people in her life and people that want to come into her life can find themselves, find self-love, find spirituality, and find self-mastery. And as RuPaul once said, how in the hell are you going to love someone else if you can't even love yourself? Can I get an amen? Welcome to the show, Harriet Gutierrez. I'm so excited to talk about this. I love talking about spirituality, honestly.
I'm going to give you the amen first.
Okay.
Yes. How are you?
Good.
All right, Roger. Thanks for having me on your show,
Of course.
Texas Tea Podcast.
Before we get into the nuts and bolts of spirituality and pain bodies and all the juiciness of acceptance and love and passion, need to hear a little bit more about Harriet and how this individual has come to be in your story.
Okay, Roger. So
Okay, Roger.
I am a writer, I'm a fitness coach, and I am a creative entrepreneur. I am a humanitarian as well. I am passionate about helping people, educating people, motivating them. Being a fitness coach is actually very fulfilling because I get to torture people every day.
That seems a little sadistic.
I am known as the torturer. I torture their old way of being. I always push them to become the best version of themselves. And it's funny because the last thing that we would do when we're working out, we're training the abs, right? Your core. And then those people would rely on me because I would count. I would make a countdown. I would say, you guys can do this. Don't give up. Do this for yourself. You're not doing this for anyone but for yourself. Then I would count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when it's 1, you'll see their faces. And it's very rewarding, not because I torture them, but because you can see that, wow, I made it. Someone pushed me to do it, because when you're working out by yourself, it's not really, you can just say that, oh, this is hard now. I'll just do that later, or I'm not going to do that one last round. I actually have that saying, Team TC, one last round, one last rep. And it's just very fulfilling how it's nice to see that I get to help people on the daily basis.
Yeah. No, it's torture is definitely not always a positive term, but I see what you're saying, because for us to grow, we have to face the demons, face the negativity, face the pain. And It's a lot easier to just distract ourselves and forget about it or push it down or not let it flow through us. So I think that's one of the most important principles of getting yourself on a spiritual path or self-improvement or what have you, is going through those what would be painful things. Don't always hear humanitarian and torturer in the same sentence, but I definitely
I just want life to be flowing and just fun and not really too serious.
I got you.
Yeah.
So you, of course, run classes at Temple Construction, and you've started this coaching program as well. And you're teaching people to find themselves, find a way to love themselves, and finding a way for them to have a better future life and not worry so much about all the negative things that have happened. But like you said, you have to confront those negative things. So let's say someone comes to you and is like, Harriet, I've had a really tough last few years. I need your help. What's that process look like?
So the process would be I would ask them, of course, like what the problem is, your perceived problem. And it is actually not there's no one specific process to it because
Yeah.
it's gonna be different from people to people. I would ask them why they think it is happening to them, what the lesson, what is it trying to teach that
Mm-hmm.
person? What is it trying to teach you? What emotions are you feeling? What is life for you?
Yeah.
Why do you think your soul needs to experience this experience?
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, it's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah. So it's not a one size fits all, which
Mm-mm.
makes sense because everyone's going through their own experience.
Right.
As we talked about off camera, we were talking about the fact that it's everyone has an individual human experience, and it's gonna be a different path and different lessons. And I know we had also talked about the fact that you should try to give as much love into the world, but sometimes that can take away from your own self-love. You can look at it as I'm loving these other people and that's what I should be doing, but then you forget to love yourself. I'm guessing you've seen that a lot, and it seems experienced it yourself as we all have. So how does someone get themselves out of a toxic situation where it seems like they tell themselves, I'm just loving this person, like I need to be there for them, and forgetting themselves? Like, what's the first step for someone to sidestep that way of thinking and start the healing process?
The first step would be awareness. Awareness that you cannot give to others what you don't have yourself. Right?
Right.
It's hard. Like you said, how are you going to love others if you do not love yourself? That is true. How are you going to provide happiness to others if you are not happy yourself? It's just not possible because you're always going to be irritable. You're always going to feel negative emotions that you're not going to be a positive person to be around with.
Yeah.
So I guess the process to that is for you to be aware of your own, if you're being a toxic person
Mm.
and how you are being a toxic person. For me, loving others it's not really about sacrificing your own love for yourself. Loving others, you really need to reflect on yourself and figure out what love is for you.
Right.
And when you have the answer to that question, then you can move forward with the other questions. Because if you don't know what love is, then it's impossible to say that I'm loving others the way that they need to be loved. Because loving one person may not be the same as how the other needs to be loved. Because most of the, like right now, what most people do, we are loving others the way that we want to be loved, not how they need to be loved.
Right. Yeah, because especially if you're missing that self-love,
Mhm.
you're inherently searching for it within someone else.
Expectations,
Yeah.
that's when expectations comes
Yeah,
in.
because you want someone to make you feel better, and I think a lot of people have run into this, and this is something. And toxic is a super buzzword right now,
Mhm.
but I think this has been a tale as old as time, where people feel that they are not complete until they find someone else, and I think you might agree there that that's the absolute wrong way to look at it. That you want to complete yourself first and either add to someone else's life or maybe help them grow as well.
Okay, let me give you a backstory. I was
Okay.
not even supposed to share this today,
Okay.
but when I was 13, um I went to a private Catholic school. I grew up in a Catholic like environment,
Hmm.
right? And then I found myself looking for or feeling like there's a void inside of me at the age of 13. And I was thinking to myself, I can't feel God. right now. So what I did was I looked into different religions, and then I found one that resonates with me. My parents they were stopping me from attending Bible studies because I was 13 and I was changing religions
Yeah.
myself. So it was crazy. So coming back to that void that you're feeling, that you're trying to find in others, right? So I had I dated someone. That's when I started dating seriously, and I keep looking for that love, and I keep on putting myself in unhealthy situations, trying to fill that void inside of me. I was 13. I didn't really learn my lesson until I turned 27. That's a long time. I keep putting myself in I keep breaking my own, I keep on breaking my own heart.
Mm-hmm.
So you can never, like, no one can ever fill that void that you're feeling but you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. And it's, I think it starts a lot with positive self-talk and accepting that bad things had happened, figuring out your role in them, but not blaming yourself for the outcome. Taking responsibility for things that you need to take responsibility for, but not dogging on yourself and hating on yourself, you know, and things have happened. Things will probably again happen. Hopefully you'll learn from it, right? But and it seems like you were definitely in a cycle. From what I've learned is you tend to do the same thing over and over again until you learn from it.
Yes.
So someone comes to you and you've had these experiences now. How would you recommend that, because you mentioned self-awareness first,
Right.
but how do you get someone to, well, you can't get someone to want to change. They have to want to change on their own, right?
Yeah. So let me give you an example, right? So I don't really get into relationships. My last relationship was serious relationship. I broke up with him in 2013. I was dating or like seeing men, but I never really dated. Like, I'm comfortable being single.
Mm-hmm.
So then I met someone in 2018, and then we started dating in 2019, and it was an on and off relationship. And 3 months ago, I broke my heart once again. And that is when I realized how fed up I am. That's where the self-awareness came in. And I was like, Harriet, this is a cycle that keeps
Yeah.
happening. When you feel that I am fed up and this is not going to happen again, you would want change. It needs to come from
Yes.
within you.
And I think that's an important part, or important thing that maybe not everyone had realized there, is that you had said you were in a vicious cycle of looking for love outside of yourself for 14 years. And then
Wow.
it took you only 3 months to quickly change from that situation to completely opening your eyes to where you're at, opening your eyes to kind of how your mental capacity works, and how the conscious mind works, and love and all that works. So anyone that's like, oh man, I've been doing this for so long, how am I going to break out of this? It doesn't matter if you're 15 or 65, you could, or anything older than that. It does not matter when you start. As soon as you make the decision to no longer be a slave to your emotions, you can.
That is my line.
I know, I stole it from you. You can start the healing process.
Mhm.
And I know we were talking a lot about spirituality before, but before we go into that, like, super in depth, Are there what are the things that you kind of want to make sure you get out message wise to those that may be listening? Because I really want to talk about just spirituality and emotions and letting things run through you without resistance and so on and so forth. But before, because I could talk about that forever. Before that, what are some keen messages or keen things you want to share to my small audience?
All right. So, if there's anything or if there's a message that I want to tell everyone, that is, you are not a slave of your emotions. Be
That's my line.
empowered.
No kidding.
That is my line.
Yeah.
Now I have to repeat it. You are not a slave of your emotions. Be empowered by them. What I meant by that is that a lot of people, they become very emotional. Things happen. Like what I did to my, like on my situation, I had to sit with myself and confronted those emotions. Because a lot of people, or like my past self, right? I would just bottle it up and not really process it properly. So those emotions would
Resistance.
just, the resistance to change.
That's an interesting thing. I'll add to that. I think what a lot of people don't realize is how important it is to let emotions go through you and process the pain and let it go through. Because especially in society, especially for guys, they're kind of told guys don't cry, right? Guys don't get sad. But the more you push that down, unless you process that, the worse it is. So you're gonna be sad, you're gonna be angry, but don't try to push that down and get rid of it. Understand why you're angry, right? Like, where's that coming from? And then once you can realize where that's coming from, if it's sadness, it's probably some sort of situation of a loss. And how does that loss affect you? What is it saying about yourself? Like if someone left you, right? It's like, I'm really sad because they're not here, because when they're gone, I'm not good enough, right? Or I'm not happy. So you have that self-talk. So accept it, be curious of the emotion, and then reaffirm that, hey, look, I am good enough. That did happen. I am sad, but that's okay. Like, I'm going to let it go through, process it, and go from there.
Right. I guess what God taught me with all the experiences that I experienced, he just showed me that your worth is not attached to anyone or anything. Look at you right now, pushing forward, meeting great people, creating opportunities for yourself. If there's anything that God taught me with like all those emotions that I felt, is that my love for myself is enough. And that's where like the self-value, it's easier to empower yourself when once you accept that completely. Because it's so easy to say that, oh, I love myself. A lot of people would say that, but not really believe it. Once you believe that, it's going to change your life in so many positive ways.
Yeah. That is definitely hard, though, as you definitely mentioned.
Took me a long time.
Yeah. You have to, like you said, I think you mentioned before, you can have positive change from a negative emotion where you were angry about your situation that propelled you forward. Even though anger is negative, it is something that can help you push to the next level, or a people push to a next level. Activism usually stems from a lot of anger, where fed up with the situation that's happening, let's do something about it. And then you can move forward to, acceptance of where everything is and start figuring things out and using reason to find ways to fix it. But yeah, it's super hard to most people because they only ever felt that love from someone else. Or they're like, oh my God, this is so good. I've never seen this.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Was the love that you said you felt, ask yourself, was it really love?
No, it was just you deciding,
or you are craving for the attachment.
Yeah. No, you're craving something that you feel like
gave you identity.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree. So you think the only way you can have that type of feeling is from someone else. But I remember I heard that, or where did I read this, hear this? But basically, a one trick that you might be able to do, and I want to hear your ways that you use to teach how to have self love. But think about how you felt when you had this ideal of being loved, and just revert that back to yourself. And instead of saying that person loved me this way, I love myself that way. Like attach yourself to like that feeling I had of joy was because I thought someone else valued me. Well, I value me. I should be joyful about that. And you start saying to yourself, man, I'm the best. I'm the fucking best, you know? Like, and just be like, man, I'll say some crazy stuff. I'll just be like, I got all 4 of my limbs. I was like, I got these 2 dogs that think I'm the shit. You know, I use my dogs a lot of the time, and I'm just like, I know that's technically outside love, but I'll just be like, man, look at all the things I've done. Look at all the people I've touched. Like, look at what I can do, my potential, how far I've come. I've survived the worst possible things that have happened in my life. I'm survived them. And look at all the things I've done. Man, the balls to do all the things that I've done. You know, even if you're, you know, not super successful yet or not in a good place yet, you survived every down day. You know, maybe you're depressed in bed and wanted to, you know, off yourself, but you know what? You woke up and you didn't. And the confidence to act even at that point, not go through with it, get up, keep going, man, you're pretty badass.
Right.
You should tell yourself that, man, I made it through these things. I'm strong. And just start to tell yourself that. So I get really amped up about that.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell that. I guess like, but you got to find a balance too. Don't get me wrong. I love having someone, you know, beside me. I love having that emotional support or that person who would just text you and it makes you smile. I love that feeling, and we need that. Those are relationships. The problem though right now is that people would attach love is different from other factors like respect, loyalty, happiness. We keep attaching love to other things, and that's the problem. Because when one of those things, like let's say I didn't make my let's say I have a future husband, I didn't make him happy, and it's like a month already and he's still not happy, he blames me for his happiness, right? Because he is attaching love that's supposed to give him that happiness. I guess that's where that is where the problem lies. When you start attaching love to different things like loyalty. Oh, he's unfaithful. He did things to me. He cheated on me, so he doesn't love me. I'm not saying that is excusable. Like that is wrong. The problem right now is that it's attached to things.
Yeah, I think there's a huge. I agree that I think there's a huge misconception of what actual love is, because people have love as a conditional thing, especially in romantic relationships.
Yes.
You know, I love you as long as, you know, this, that, and the other, and as soon as that is compromised, you know, or I love you as long as you're giving me enough tension for me to feel love, you know, or I love you, you know, as long as, you know, you're not pursuing this career, or you're at home with the kids. Or like, there's always like some sort of situation like, I adore and love that person because of this way that she is or this way that he is, but those things can change.
Exactly.
You should be coming from a place of, now granted, as you've said, we talked about before, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself and stay with someone and compromise, you know, things that your own self-love, right? I feel like I'm running around in circles over here. But yeah, like everyone, all these movies about romantic love and, oh man, I couldn't live without her or him. the fact of the matter is you can live without someone. You should be able to live without someone. And the only reason why you want to have someone else in your life is because they're a like-minded person who you can help, you can grow with as well.
Right.
And if you can come close to a higher power or spirituality through own internal meditation and self-reflection, and you have someone who is that same like-minded, it's like you're getting almost even closer to
But
that
let me
higher
give
power.
you an easier way too. That's why when I learned self-love, right? When I learned how to love myself correctly, you attract, you don't chase.
Mm-hmm.
You attract those people. You don't have to put conditions on people, on relationships or any expectation, because they will just automatically do that. Because I believe that you teach others how to love you when they see you how you are loving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Self-love right there. You don't even have to say, oh, this is what I want. You have to be like this, stay like this, make me happy, give me attention. No, if that person sees you, that you are giving this much attention to yourself, that's respect.
Right.
Like it just gives you back,
Mm-hmm.
And then if I think for a person to avoid healthy relationships as well, you have to know what your standards are.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what you're looking for. The problem right now is that, let's say I come into your life and I make you feel all this, but I'm not really what you're looking for. But you're missing the red flags because you don't know what you're looking for. It's so easy to miss the red flags as much as you miss the blessings in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because how would you know the difference of the red flags and the blessings that's coming if you don't know what you're looking for?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think so many people fall into that situation where it's not an ideal situation, but it's comfortable enough, and they'll figure it out later.
Because you don't have standards.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're looking for. And the main problem right now, too, that's coming back to self-love and self-mastery, why I think that it's very important that we focus on that, is because if you don't know where you are going, let's say 5 years from now, I want to have my own company. I want to be helping people, coaching, still coaching people. Or let me scratch that. Let's say I want to be a mom, right? I want to be a hands-on mom, but I still want to have my own career.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to be able to serve my purpose. What am I going to do? I am going to create a business that is online, that I can work from home, so that I still have my career, but I can still be hands-on with my kids. So now that I have that mindset, I know where I'm going. It's easier for me to go step by step to that, compared to not knowing where you are going. Like, let's say love, right? You don't know if you want to be married, but then someone comes into your life, make you feel all special, and that person doesn't want to get married. You can't just change that person.
Right.
So it's very important to master yourself, because if you don't know where you're going, you would not know how to get there.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's and I know we had talked about before about purpose, and in my view, your purpose should unfold, but you should have an idea of what you can positively do, or at least if you want a certain thing that is positive, like how to get there, right? You're saying, you want to bring life into this world, but you also want to help others, obviously. So you're going to do something online, right? To make sure you could do both of those. I think about that a lot too, because, I'm very aware that we live in a material world. Like if I want to just become completely accepting and always living in the present moment and just enjoying the beauty of the world and have no connection to the material world or wealth or anything like that, technically I could give everything up, go become a monk, and practice meditation every day, right? Like if that's my clear goal. Sometimes I think that's somewhat selfish, because you are deciding to take the straight line path to enlightenment and joy without any malevolence. So in my mind, okay, cool. So how can I bring joy to others and also bring joy into myself, right?
You got to find that balance. That's
Right.
why it's called balance.
Exactly. So, and then also what I realize is, okay, yeah, duh, I am living in a material world. This material world, usually you can do way more for others the more money you have, right? Like, I mean, not buying them stuff, but you
Right.
can get your message out there easier. You can, hire people to help you with your goal.
One thing too, money is not evil.
Yeah.
I don't believe that money is evil. What's evil is what you do
it's
with
just
money.
it's just a tool, you know?
Money is a tool.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's I think what's evil is
The intentions of
Yeah.
people, where they're using the money.
Yeah. Evil doesn't come from
An object.
objects or economies or markets,
Mhm.
because if you think that a certain institution was created a certain way, that institution was created by people, right?
Mhm.
So there were intentions on that creation.
Exactly.
So if that institution
Uh-huh.
is looking like it's negative and evil, okay, well, if it was created by people, it can be changed by people. There are no emotions from an inanimate object,
Right.
or
Right.
or an ideal or an institution. So I very firmly believe in that.
But you need to understand too that you are not just creating, you're co-creating.
Yeah.
So it's not a straight path, like it's not because this is what you want, this is what's going to happen, but at least have that, okay, I'm going to Houston, so I have to run by Katie, I have to run by, Cypher or wherever. You would know your path, but I want people to know too that you are co-creating with the universe and with God.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to think like, oh, she said that there is a destination and it's just going to be straight there. It's not going to be a straight path, but because there are still lessons to learn, but at least you know what to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to this place, so why would I take that exit?
Mm-hmm.
So that you save time,
Yeah.
because time is the only thing that we cannot beat. Time is equal for everyone.
Mm-hmm. That's true. 100%. Now we can go down the rabbit hole of the fact that time is a man-made conscript and concept, and it's just a measurement of
on the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But still, in the world, time is time. Your body will still grow.
Yeah.
It will still.
You only have so many moments until your material being degrades.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. So I completely agree with that. That people have to realize that there's a greater picture. Now, everyone has a different belief, from someone who is a devout Catholic or Muslim to an absolute atheist.
Right.
Everyone has to realize that there is something greater than them. Even the atheist has to accept that there are other people in the world. So they may want to get to their destination, but they're going to meet and talk to and affect a lot of people along the way. And it may not go the way that they want it to go. So they have to accept that whatever it is, they have to do it with acceptance, lack of resistance, and curiosity, and self-love, right?
And you have to be careful too with who you allow in your life. This is one of the things that I realized too with my awakening on my journey, like self-love journey, is that I have to be very careful with who I allow into my life. Why? Not because I'm judging other people, but because the people that I allow into my life influences me. So they could either help me grow or hold me back.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because it's all energies, right? It's all if you have, I mean, there's a reason why people say, I hate being around your vibe or whatever, right? Like that's
Bad
the
vibes.
bad vibes, so
Get
like,
out of here.
Yeah, it's a thing because, we as individuals radiate, how we feel. If you don't believe in there being energy, that's fine. But look, if you're around sitting next to someone who's angry or sad, tell me you can't innately feel that, right? Like you can, your brain is picking up on that, like the cues, the mannerisms, and so on and so forth. So if your brain is picking up on a bunch of people around you having negative emotion, your brain subconsciously is thinking, "Oh shit, I should be negative too." That only makes sense for the current environment. So, right, if you put yourself in an environment with people that are more positive, it's only going to uplift you. However,
it opens doors to you.
What's that?
It opens doors.
Yeah. However, if you get to a point, and this is the, I feel like I'm hijacking.
No.
If you get to a certain point where you can be so mentally stable and so in depth in your own self-love and love for others, you can go into a room of absolute negativity and brush that off and make change.
So yeah, that's good that you actually. That's good that you said that. I agree with you. That's why I really didn't have the opportunity to like share my experience and my stories before, because I have not reached that level yet.
Mhm.
But now I am comfortable in sharing it, because now the mirror, I'm not mirroring anyone back anymore. I am being mirrored.
Mhm.
I'm the one influencing the room. I'm
Right.
not being influenced anymore.
Yeah.
Once you reach that level of self-love and keep on working towards self-mastery.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you will know it yourself. You'll
Yeah.
be confident. You'll feel it that, okay, I can it's like this morning. Someone was mad. They're angry. So instead of me letting what's happening around me affect me, I actually laughed and I was like, okay, I just need to recharge my batteries,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I just let the emotions go, or whatever that is. Because now I'm confident that I can be, that it's not personal. I don't have
Yeah.
to take that personal.
Yeah. No, exactly. If you let someone's else actions into your head. Now, granted, like,
But it's easy, but it's easy to influence people who have not reached that level of self-love yet.
Mhm.
Because self-love, it is about finding your identity.
Mhm.
It is about remembering who you are.
Mhm.
That's why it's very important, because what happens is that when you're around negative people, if you know yourself, you can stand up there and say that I am not this negative person.
Mhm.
So it's very important for people to work on themselves first. Self-mastery, self-love. Once
Oh, yeah.
you reach that point, it's easier for you to help others and, influence, be a positive, more positive influence to your environment.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a clear example that a lot of people use, I think, is if you're drowning yourself, how are you going to save anyone else from drowning, right?
Exactly.
So you need to be the one with the boat, just, hopefully a yacht at one point where you can bring everyone on board.
Oh, I'd love that.
But yeah, so no, I completely agree. You got to fix yourself first there, radiate it out, not letting people into your head. And that's, I forgot who, I think this Gary Vaynerchuk said this. You, like, let's say there's someone who's bullying you, right?
Mm-hmm.
They come in and they just like absolutely tear you up.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go home and probably not even think about what they did. But you're going to go home and dwell on what they said if you're not in a good place, right? So if you think about it, it's just a moment, you're letting a moment in time or multiple moments in time affect the rest of your day, the rest of your week, maybe how you perceive yourself for the future. And that's really, really hard not to do unless you have an internal self-love. And it takes a long time. And I know we're talking about this and we sound...
Well, that's why there's the coaching program,
Right.
Coaching program that I'm offering to people, because it's not easy. It will take you a long time if you do it by yourself, because it's so hard to get out of your own head.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
So
agree.
it will be half of the time if you allow someone to help you.
Mhm. Yeah, because you have someone who
You can
is,
bounce
yeah,
ideas.
not only has gone through the process, but let's say you don't have that positive self-talk. You don't have that, internal reflection and awareness, and you may not ever figure it out. But all you need is the want to say, I'm living in misery. I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, and I want to change. And no one can create that in someone's mind. But if you have that initial point and you make those first steps to get help, and
Mhm.
I've struggled with this a lot. I've been a very willful person, very selfish person in my past, and I don't need no one or anybody to help
Right.
me get what I need to get, right? So it was very difficult for me to ask for help. But the moment you decide you're willing to ask for help, you can then find anyone that's living the life you want from a spiritual way or from a more complete way or a self-love way, and approach that person, and then they can start to replace or be the crutch that you need, right? Because if you're not telling yourself how amazing you are and that you can do these things and that you can get through these things, or you have no idea how to process things, they can say like, look, and with real powerful love, and be like,
Mhm.
Harriet, like, you are a good person, and I'm going to tell you that every day. Like, imagine it. Like, I don't think people realize how significant that is. If you have someone that's absolutely negative, but every time they talk to you, instead of feeding into that negativity, you don't argue with them. You accept it and just be like, yeah, that's terrible. But you know what? You're an amazing person. I know you can get through this. The amount, like, and if you say that genuinely, and even if that person takes forever to change or never changes at all, like, the brief moment that you give them a positive perspective, it's not going to hurt. There's no problem big enough that being negative won't make worse. I heard that one time. So I'll say that one more time. There's no problem big enough that negativity won't make worse. Because what's it going to do? If you're complaining about something,
Mhm.
if you're angry about something, and unwilling to make a change, it's just going to make you miserable.
And it is very important to who you talk to, like who you ask for help, like who's going to support you. Not everyone is capable of giving emotional support. And it's very important too that if you're going through those kind of experiences and you really want to find yourself, it's very important that you find someone who knows how to ask the right questions,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a process to that. There is a step. You can Google it, you can ask yourself whatever questions, but then you will keep going back to number one, because you have to find the root of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just go to like a person, you cannot go to a person who is going through the same thing as you are, because
Right.
you guys are going to be like, oh, 0 + 0 is one.
Yeah, right,
and,
right.
and the other one's just going to laugh and they're going to be like, yeah, it's one.
Yeah. You're right. We should keep
So,
doing this.
right.
Misery sounds great.
So be careful to who you talk to and
Mm-hmm.
who you ask for
Yeah, but
like.
that's the problem though, is most people will attract similar people. Not
Mhm.
necessarily just partners, but if you look at if you
A
look
friend group.
a friend group that
Uh-huh.
no one's going anywhere, or they're most of them are having all these problems, they cling together because
Mhm.
energies attract, negative and positive.
Right.
So it's really hard to get out of that. So you have to be self-aware, right? And realize, oh shit, like, these people are telling me I'm getting one after adding 0 twice, and that can't be right. Like,
Right.
yeah, like,
Right.
yeah.
That's why, like I said earlier, awareness. It's the first thing is that become aware of your own patterns. Become aware that this is not a situation where I don't want to see myself in this kind of situation. Being
Mm-hmm.
aware of the fact that this is a toxic, unhealthy
Mm-hmm.
situation for me.
Right.
That is the start. That's the starting point towards change.
Yeah. No, of course. And and I have to say, it's a really good thing to see or hear your story, and how you come from the Philippines, kind of came in the middle of your teens, right? 14, right?
I was 16 when I
16.
moved here in 2009.
Okay, got you. Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
Okay. 16, because I think what's also tough for people asking help is they see someone who's saying, "Hey, this is amazing. I love my life. You can do this too." They may look at me who has success, hasn't had a ton of strife
Mhm.
world in the world, and be like, "Well, you had it easy," and like, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm never going to be ungrateful for how my life played out. I'm very grateful for the situation, but I always hope that there's more individuals like yourself that they can look at you and they don't have a excuse. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you came to America when you were 16, so 16 years of your life was in a country that was definitely had less rights, definitely had a worse situation, and now you're here and going
And
through all
it's
that.
not really about that. It's funny that you said that because I keep telling my friends, people would look at my Instagram, right? I love pictures. I'm what do you call this? I am very creative.
Mm-hmm.
I am an artistic person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
There you go. We
I'm
got
an
it. We got
artist.
there.
I am an artist.
Okay.
So
Very passionate.
so very passionate. I'm into that. My pictures look so good. What I would always tell people is that when you go onto my Instagram, you see the girl traveling, posting this kind of pictures, but you don't know the story behind those travel pictures.
Mm-hmm.
The girl who is desperately trying to heal from a broken heart,
Mm.
or someone who's very stressed about work that they just want to escape and, be somewhere that they
Mm-hmm.
don't have to think about their problems. So it's just crazy how the world right now, especially with Instagram, Facebook, people would see all our success, our wins, but not really, even though we know that there is something behind that it's
Mm-hmm.
not always good. I think that's what stops a lot of people from asking for help because they think that, oh, it's just me,
Yeah.
you know. And I did not have it easy, but I am very grateful for everything. I mean, I it could have been worse, but I am very blessed. But I'm going to tell you guys that me, myself, I can tell you guys that I've had a lot of obstacles that I had to like really fight. Well, not fight, or yeah, I had to fight for my happiness, for myself.
Mm.
I had to fight for that. Harriet, I am not going to give up on you.
Mm-hmm.
I had to like really stand up
That's
for
a good
myself.
line there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep telling yourself
Self
that.
love.
Self-love.
Yes.
Self-love. Yeah, no, that's really interesting that you made that point about how people will see things on social media and not really see the things behind it. We're just in a world of
Even though we actually know that it's not all that, because even us, we would post things like that.
yeah. Yeah, no, I know.
So,
Everyone knows that.
uh-huh.
But at the same time, people like tend to just forget that that's the real case because they're just like, oh, he has this or that or whatever, and that's what they see, but they don't see beneath the pictures and what people want to show. Most people don't want to show their pain or their struggle.
Mhm.
Most people don't want others to think that they're weak or have failed or have these problems. And
Mhm.
the more you suppress that and the less honest you are with both yourself and with others, the harder it is to work through those things
Yes.
and complete yourself.
Yes.
And also on the other side of the coin is people are also unaware of other people's situations and are very keen about their own. So if they're like, if I can do this, why can't you do this? But everyone's different. As you said before,
Yes.
everyone comes from a very specific situation, different traumas, different life, different privileges, different experiences,
You have to meet people where they are.
Yes.
Do you remember when after you told me your story, I said That is very amazing. It's a very human story to
Oh
tell.
yeah, yeah.
Right? Because I am accepting you for where you are right now.
Mhm.
I am not going to force, oh, be like this, be strong like me. If
Mhm.
I did this, then you can do this.
Yeah.
You accept them for this is your stage right now. I'm
Mhm.
accepting where your mindset right now, but I'm just going to influence you.
Yeah.
Just you cannot force anything to anyone.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
influence them.
Yeah, it's spiritual work, self-love, mental fortitude, all that work. It's really easy to get caught up in yourself, and you could be like, oh my God, presence is amazing and the world's so beautiful and I'm joyful all the time. And why can't you just be present and in the moment? Like, you should be present in the moment. You're missing out. But some people haven't even realized that the way they're thinking and the way that they look at the world
Different.
is, yeah, it's they don't know differently. So if you don't know a different way, how are you going to tell someone they should be thinking different or acting different when they don't even know that they're doing it wrong? And it's also, I think, what's terrible with society right now
Mhm.
is a lot of the basal materialistic, and I think everyone knows this, basal materialistic, ego-driven stuff. It's me and I and your identity and who you are is like, that's so bad because the more someone has to have an identity, regardless of what it is, how they're perceived, no matter what, it's driving home that they are this corporal form, and that's it. And the thing is, we've developed this ego and identity through our experiences in life and what we let in. So
Right.
like someone can be complete. The thing is, you as a person, like, and how you're perceived, you can change that on a dime. If you're a piece of shit and you've fucked up a lot and you just are just a terrible person, selfish, that doesn't have to be you. Like, you can change today and be a completely different person. Now there could be people that remember how you were and they see you that way, but it doesn't matter. Like, you aren't that person. You aren't that identity, you know? And I think a lot of people get caught up in identity and like, well, I always do this. Like we were talking about, it's a cycle. I always, keep doing the same things over and over again. Self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So there's a lot of that working against people, and it's really sad that the media and social media, it's all based around dopamine hits and money. Like all of it is very material based.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't tell someone, hey, that's wrong, because if you don't understand from where they're coming from
Or why they are doing what they're doing.
exactly, you can't really help them, and more importantly, they're never going to accept help unless
But
they're
you
willing
know
to
what
change.
you can do with those people? What I've learned is that's why they say actions speak louder than words. Actions are more powerful than words. Because if you have not reached that level of self-love yet,
Mm-hmm.
your words are just going to be words, because there are no there's no substance
yeah.
into it. There's no, like, it's not your truth, because you're not even believing, like really believing your words. So what you can do is like influence those people instead of like telling them what's right and what's wrong, because they're going to be like, well, why do you think your right is my right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, because and I think a lot of people get carried away because they're like, oh my God, I found this new way of life. I love myself so much. I have all this newfound spirituality and I'm present in the moment and everything's so cool and I don't have as much stress.
Show me.
Yeah, show me, right? Like,
Show me.
be an example.
Uh-huh.
But also, you're not perfect. You're still gonna have bad days. You're
Yes.
not over it yet, unless you're.
It's a journey. Healing yourself. So it's a journey. You will still have flaws.
Yeah.
But the best that you can do is that show people the way you're living instead of telling them,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is like, be all hyped up about it. You know?
Yeah, because if someone's like saying, well, that's not going to work for me, like, I'm just not in a spot where I can get happier and all that and the other.
What I'm trying to say is that you don't want to hype up people that much. Like, say that, let's say self-love, and then say that, oh, if you love yourself, you're gonna be fine and independent and not gonna need anyone, because that is very unrealistic
Yeah.
to give to other people.
Right. We live in a world full
So
of people.
because I can say that, yes, I've found a way to genuinely love myself, but I still have those times where I feel lonely, that I want a relationship, I want to connect with someone. So I am not okay with people giving other people unrealistic expectation, because those people would not know if they are growing or not,
Yeah.
because they have that thing, like that perfection, because that perfection is not going to happen.
It's never going to happen. Well, I mean, if it happens, you basically leave this planet of existence.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like that, a lot of women right now too, they have that concept that they need to be independent, Miss Independent. I used to be Miss Independent, but you know what I call myself now? I am Miss Interdependent. I am interdependent with the people in my life, the people who I value,
Right.
not independent.
Right.
Because you put up that wall. You don't let other people in.
Help. Yeah.
When you say that, oh, I am independent.
Yeah, that's the same exact thing that I went through too. Like, I'm a self-made man. Like, I'm a self-made businessman. Like, and that would spill over into everything. Like, if I'm a self-made businessman, if I could do all these other things in my life and get to this point, why would I ever need help on my mental condition or what have you, or like when I'm angry or whatever? And another point you said about the perfection, yeah, it's so hard to get there. I mean, we're talking about this right now, but literally before this podcast, I was in a situation that I definitely took a call, and I was trying to rush off the call, and I was a little bit angry. I got emotional, and I did not take that situation the right way. And sadly, people will see that and be like, "See, you're not fucking spiritual. You're still like us." But the thing is, like, I never say I'm perfect. And I try to make that a really big part of when I talk to people. Look, I'm learning. Even if you're my coach, like, even if I'm Harriet, I'm like, I'm your coach, but I'm still human and I'm still learning. The only difference is that I'm very aware of it.
Yes.
I have a lot of experience and I know the right things to do. And I'm not always going to do those right things, but I'm going to learn from the things.
We are all still doing this human journey. When someone is still doing this human journey, they will still have flaws. That's why it's a matter of perception, how you see things, how you see other people's mistake, how you accept those. It's not going to be perfect. Not because I'm telling you self-love. Well, hopefully I really have learned my lesson, but not because I am promoting self-love and self-awareness means that I am never going to make a mistake again. You know, I'm giving myself that space as well, that it's okay to make a mistake, that it's okay to, because now if you aim for that perfection, it becomes fear of failure. Then you become paralyzed.
No, I completely agree with that. And you were saying before, so you said fear of failure, but you said before that people won't know if they're getting better. I've personally have had those situations where I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm meditating, I'm letting emotions process, I'm really doing a lot of good self-work, but I can't believe I'm still unmotivated. I can't believe I slept in today. And like, I'll get so down on myself, but
being too hard on yourself.
Yeah. But the thing is, it is a journey, and what you have to do, especially if you're getting better mentally, you have to realize, okay, how was I a year ago? And how do I approach problems now? Is it different? Even if it's incrementally different, you've still made progress.
That's why I said journaling is very important, because
that's
how you will you'll look back a year ago and see, oh my God, this is what I said, or like, what was I thinking about? Because you don't know if you're very right. It happens that we question our own progress, but how would we know our progress if we don't write it down?
Right. Exactly. And it is much more difficult. Now, I should have journaled. I definitely should have done that. I know that sounds so silly, journaling. Bring out your little journal with the sparkles and the stars
I
on
am
it.
very, what is wrong with journaling? I love journaling. I love talking to myself because I learn from myself a lot.
Dear journal, dear gossip girl.
Dear Gossip Girl.
But
I'm in love with him today, and next month I'm in love with a different one. Just kidding.
no,
I'm
that's not
just
good.
kidding.
No, you're always in
Uh,
love with yourself. You're
I
always
am in love
with
with myself. Yes.
So basically, anyone that's coming to you has to be open to the fact that you know we're all not perfect. We are all continually learning, but until you pick up the baton, hypothetically, and decide that you want to change your life, you're not really going to get out of that cycle. And we tend to continue cycles from trauma,
Mhm.
and until we heal that trauma, until we decide that we can get help,
Mhm.
we're not going to get to that point of a better life. Because really, all we want to be is happy, and not necessarily happy from a pleasure standpoint, but just joyful in what we're doing. And the only way to be joyful in what we're doing is loving ourselves, accepting the things out of our control, and doing the best that we can for others.
Yeah, well, the balance program too. One of the questions there is, what is happiness to you? A lot of people would say, I want to be happy. And then I ask them, what will make you happy?
Yeah.
That is not attached to other people, that is not attached to a situation. What would really make you happy? And what is happiness to you? One of the things, y'all should check my blog too. I wrote there, what is happiness with if you remove the feeling from happiness, what does happiness look like in the form of action?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
those kind of things.
Yeah. I think for me to sum it up, I've found that I'm the most joyful
Mm-hmm.
when I'm living the most in the moment with no thoughts of the future or the past. I'm selfless where I can be, and I accept situations out of my control as they are. I think those are three really key pillars, and I'll repeat that again. It's when I am present in the moment, i.e., not having unconscious thoughts and what have you. I'm selfless where I can be, a lot less selfish, and I'm accepting of things out of my control and don't try to force those things out of my control. So that's where I found the most joy. So you can be super joyful at your computer at a job you don't even like or didn't even like, because you're just accept that this is my job right now. You know what? Like, I want to be good to other people and my coworkers, and basically I'm just going to focus on what's in front of me, the task at hand. So you just put all those things together, and even in the worst of scenarios, if once you get really good at it, you can go through anything. You can go through a lot of strife. But
Yes.
so, of course, like, I know we kind of talked about spirituality and self-love in general terms. For me to close this out, I know Balanced, your coaching program, so you got a bit of a talking points here. So for those who are looking to better themselves, what kind of person would come into Balanced and benefit the most from it, and what are you offering to that person?
Okay, so balance is about not just training your body, it's about training your mind and body. It involves cardio, strength training, and flexibility. So all those important points, I guess the main point that I want to get out there is that it is very important that we work on our physical body, because I did an in-depth study of like how our body and emotions, how are those connected, right? So when I went through the breakup, what helped me was me training myself, my body and mind, like the words that I didn't have, the things, the feelings that I didn't even have words to express. I was sweating it all out. Those sweat, those are emotions that you allow to remove from your body. So when you feel good, you look good, you will start making better decisions. And I just want to put it out there that you need to start prioritizing yourself and taking good care of yourself. When you train yourself and become stronger, like physically, you will be surprised how much inner strength that will give you. It will give you back your confidence. It's not being shallow at all, because a lot of people think that, oh, they work out at the gym, or like she's there all the time, she keeps working on herself. It's not being shallow. It is part of the self-love journey. You have to work on yourself, and really you have to believe that the person in front of the mirror that you see every day is actually really beautiful. So you have to work onto that. Like, you put your makeup on or whatever, train your body. My main point is it gives you back that confidence that all of those experiences in your life took away from you.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's a good entry point, it seems, where you're not getting so deep into the mental work, but the entry point is you're respecting yourself, working on yourself, and that is a first step to self-love as you're going inward. You know, a lot of people, I think we find a lot of people that, you know, whenever they go through a breakup or having a tough time, they go to something for themselves. They work on their business, they start working out or whatever. So going inward and then helping them realize the next steps.
It is like the saying, as above, so below.
Yeah.
When you work on your body and you become stronger, so is your inner strength, your inner confidence. As above, so below. Work on your body. It will come naturally. You will have that different positive energy that you share, you know, with others. Like other people can just feel that, oh, she feels so confident. She feels so positive. Yeah. But like I said, there is a specific training, because I'm very passionate about body movement. I'm passionate about that. Not because you're training means that you're training your body properly. There is a specific way of how people should train your body, and that you need to study the natural rhythm of your body.
So, all right. So where can they find you, Harriet, and where can they find Balanced on the internet? Where can they sign up? How do they start if they want to work with you?
Yes. So you guys can go to www.marieharriet, and that is MarieHarriet.co. So you guys go to my website. I will post the applications in there. I prefer to like coach people, just a number of people, not everyone for right now, because I want to make sure that I work with people one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because like I said, different people have different situations. So you can find me there, or you can look me up on Facebook, Marie Harriet Gutierrez. Yeah.
That's it. Or
look for me at Temple Construction. Y'all should work out with us too.
That's true.
Yes.
David Wynn of Temple Construction. Well, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on board. For those who are listening, of course, if you're listening through any of the podcast apps, I'm sorry. I don't think there's a way to comment. I could be wrong. So you can go to our YouTube channel, Texas Tea Podcast, or on Facebook as well, Texas Tea Podcast. Put a comment in there. Send us a message if you have any questions for Harriet, or suggestions or things you guys want to hear. Let us know. Subscribe, share with your family, share with your friends, share with your strangers, acquaintances, dogs, anywhere you can share. We would love it. We love it. Once again, thanks for coming on the show, Harriet. Thanks for listening. And that's Texas Tea Podcast, talking about spirituality and self-love. We'll see you guys later.